Once in a blue moon in Sagittarius, I decided to expand my YouTube channel with more philosophical content. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. The last 3 videos I recorded were recorded in the beginning of 2026. They were more about the astrology at that time and how it was connected to the collective field, the collective consciousness on this planet. But a lot has changed. I moved, as you could see. And I just want to share a little bit more of my journey from the last 3 years. And I want to tell a little bit more about myself first before I'm gonna talk more about all this philosophical content. And so let's start with that. So my name is Liz. I am from the Netherlands and I'm already for 3.5 years in Indonesia. I moved from Uluwatu, Bali, to Nusa Lembongan, which is a island off the coast of Bali. And so far so good. I really like it here. Uluwatu is amazing. It's a really nice place, but I was not really grounded there. And before I lived in Uluwatu, I lived in Gili Trawangan, which is a small island of Lombok. And I missed small island life, like just that you see sunrise and sunset, and it's just small, tiny. It's not as small as Gili Trawangan, but it is, I think around it's like 12 kilometers, but it's very beautiful here. It is very green. It's still Balinese culture that I really like, and I'm so happy. I found a room. No, the room found me, actually. And, if I look out of the window here, I see the ocean. I hear the ocean in the night, so I sleep amazing. Because in Uluwatu, I couldn't sleep so well anymore. I was always taking magnesium glycinate, if I pronounce that correctly, and ashwagandha, and now I don't need anything anymore. I sleep like a baby. Maybe because of the waves I hear, but I think it's mainly because I'm every day swimming in the ocean. Even though in Uluwatu there is ocean all around us, right? But you have to go with scooter first, and here I just walk with my dog, and I get a coffee in the morning. I have my slow mornings. I start slowly, and I walk my 10,000 steps, have a coffee, swim in the ocean, walking barefoot on the sand, and that is so grounding for me. And I really wanted to share my experience because I think more women who are very aware and see everything, synchronicities in everything, the symbolism of their reality and everything, it is difficult to stay in the present. And we are all the time up here, because we are connecting dots and we are hyper aware, and being more mindful and grounded and getting all the electricity what's around our brain, moving that back down into the earth is so important. As I mentioned before, I'm writing a book. I'm almost done, like 80%. And it's about the rising consciousness of this planet and about how to decode your reality that can shift you into the new earth, because your reality is all based on your own perception of your reality, right? So I still love all these topics such as timelines, masculine, feminine energy, and how to balance that within yourself, soul contracts, synchronicities, fractals, because I do believe and I see reality like this, that everything that is in your reality is for you. So when you see something popping up all the time in your reality, it's a fractal of your own consciousness. And I explain this deeply in the book, but I also want to explain this in this YouTube channel, but now from a very more grounded way, because I am more grounded and I experienced a lot in, if you're not grounded, what that's doing with you and your body and your spirit, compared with if you are very grounded, like I'm now, because then you stay way more in the present, right? Yeah, so timeline, synchronicities, metaphysical concepts. I love quantum physics. I love astrology. I love human design. I love gene keys. These are also the systems that I really used in the last 3 years to understand myself completely, inside out, upside down. I needed to know who I was, because I always felt very different. And that's because I've always been very sensitive as a kid, very intuitive, always asking questions. What is this reality? Why the world is like this? You know, I never understood it. So when I started living on my own, because I moved out from my parents' house when I went to study, I started also digging deeper to get answers on my questions, because the people around me, first of all, they didn't have the answers. Second of all, they didn't understand why I was asking those questions. So I remember when I was 19, this was in 2009, I saw for the first time the documentary called Zeitgeist, which was all about, it started with religion also, but actually how much it is connected to astrology. It was about mainstream media, about the different agendas. It was about the financial system and what money is. And that was also a big part of my interest. Money. What is money? How does money work? What is the Federal Reserve? And yeah, in the last decade, more than a decade, I really digged deeper into this. And I think my spiritual awakening started around when I was 24, when I started seeing everywhere 11:11. All the time when I checked my phone, 11:11. And I didn't understand why. How is that possible? So sometimes I thought, I'm not going to check my phone because, you know, I don't know what time it is, but I'm not going to check it. And then later I checked 11:11, that I thought, what is this? So I got more questions. And then I started really being interested in the full moon. So I was following this couple online, and they had huge explanations every month about the full moon and what it would illuminate and which topics and themes would be illuminated in your life. And I was writing everything down. And then I started thinking, okay, but this is so crazy, you know? So I was looking back into their blogs, and I was checking in my agenda if those themes that they were describing in the past blogs that I didn't even read yet back then, if that was like connected to the themes I was living, because I thought for a moment maybe I created myself. So I read now about this and therefore that happened. But I was reading everything back and I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. And then more questions. But I also left it for a while. I was still more into geopolitics. I love geopolitics. I was very much into the financial system and who controlled the money in the world and the power in the world and the healthcare systems and all those things. I found that so interesting. And then COVID happened. And for a lot of people, COVID was a time that was difficult, but for me it was the best time of my life, actually. Can I say that? Yeah, I can still say that. Because COVID was, for me, everything stopped. So I worked at the gym next to, I was doing my master's. So first I did my bachelor, then I worked for a while, and then I did my master's. And my master's was communication science and the major was communication and technology. And I'm very, very much interested in new technologies, and especially, I was writing about blockchain and AI and, chatbots, but it was the beginning of AI. So those were topics that I found so interesting. But everything went online and the gyms closed, so I was just at home. And I thought immediately, okay, something is not right with this. And I just started digging, and then my second real spiritual awakening started. And that was the moment I got really into contact with quantum physics. I'm Dutch. English is not my first language, so I'm sorry if I speak a little bit weird sometimes, or I use easy sentences. Anyway, I was really much into quantum physics and the double slit experiment, and I thought, oh my god, this is why there's one situation in the world, but there are completely different timelines, different perception of that situation. So I digged so much deeper, and from that moment I couldn't let go anymore, and I wanted to know everything. And in that period also I thought, you know what, when I finish my master's, which was in 2022, I'm gonna move to Bali. And that felt just good for me, so I just followed, and I sold everything in the Netherlands, and I'm still here. But it was just such a journey, it was such a journey of understanding myself, but also understanding what doesn't work if you are so aware. And I really want to explain more of these philosophical concepts based on what we see right now in the world, because I believe different agendas are playing out, and it all depends on how we look at it, okay? It depends on our perception. So I think it is important to bring some knowledge and wisdom about this, because the most things you see on the news, it's just a pushed narrative, right? And I think it's always very important to listen to your own intuition and what is resonating with you and what does not, and don't go into fear. So this is why I start this YouTube channel, because I want to explain more what's going on. I want to explain it more, like being a bridge between the old and the new earth, because the new earth is not like a new earth. It is a different frequency. So there are multiple timelines, multiple versions of Earth. And like there were multiple versions of COVID, right? But it depends on how you see it, because there are like different agendas playing out right now. But I want to explain it in a more grounded way, and I think I can do that right now because I'm more grounded. I'm not like flying away and receiving all these downloads all the time as I had before, and then that I see that I could connect all the dots with each other, but it was not really grounded. I can definitely share my experiences over the last few years with you while I am tapping into these different concepts. And besides this YouTube channel, I'm also writing a book. It's called Decoding Reality, the portal of truth into the new earth. Sorry, I had to think for a moment. And it's also about all rising consciousness, feminine and masculine energy, and how to balance it in yourself. It's about soul contracts, it's about synchronicities, it's about signs and symbolism that you see in your reality and how you can make sense of it. It's about astrology, quantum physics, it's about tarot, because these are all systems of this reality that we can use to get some clarity, right? But the clarity is actually a confirmation of what we actually already feel inside us. But that's for another video. I will go deeper into that and filter it down, layer by layer. I just wanted to talk a little bit about myself first, so you know who I am and to who you are listening to. So yeah, I think that's it for now. Thank you so much. If you're still listening to this video, really, I'm so grateful. I love that. And yeah, many more videos to come. So bye for now. Thank you so much, guys.